So here standing, we're going to have our feet hip joint width apart. And then firstly, place your hands on your hips. So just to feel where your hip joints are. And we're going to do a series of lifting your heels in alternates. So going to bend the knee, one knee, and send it forwards. And just notice how your thigh bone creases in your hip. Sink that heel down. And again, same leg. And one more. And then switch to the second side. Lifting up the heel. And send the knee forward, send the thigh bone forwards. So I want you to notice as you're doing this, how much is your hip lifting? How much is it coming up into your waist area? 3 on this side, and then switch over to the second side. And if you notice that your hip is shifting upwards and downwards, then I want you to do less. So the aim here, we're going to do alternates now, is to just see if you can make this move by sending your thigh and your knee forward, opening up your ankles and keeping your hips as level and still as you can. Good. And then we're going to turn to the side. And we're going to take a step backwards. So your one foot is in front, one foot is behind. So my front foot has gone behind. So I want you to imagine that you've got a stream flowing in between your feet. And we're going to shift balance over to the front and over to the back, changing the foot position. So you're going to send your weight forwards and lift your heel up, the back heel up. You're going to send the heel downwards to shift the weight, and then you're going to roll your front foot onto your heel, lifting those toes up. Spread the toes here. Send the foot down and then shift over, opening up the back ankle, back heel, and then back, flexing that front foot. And again, opening up the back foot, lifting the heel and back. So here, maybe you want to put your hands on your hips, or you want to keep your arms down. So you want to notice which part there's a point where you're balanced. So if you're going to sink yourself backwards a little bit into your back foot and then lift up your front foot, you're balancing on the heel and then come back. So your still heel is up on the back foot and then anchor down the front heel and then come down. As you can see, my balance isn't brilliant this morning. So lift up through the crown of the head and back and balance here. That's it, good. And then take a step forwards and return, so your back leg is now backwards. So again, just check in with your feet and just find a security here of both feet flat on the floor. Then we're going to shift the weight forwards, open up the back sole of the foot. So lifting the heel, sink the heel down and floating up the front foot. So the heel is now on the floor. Forwards and back. Forwards and back. Forwards and back. And just notice, is this way slightly easier or is it slightly more tricky? It's slightly easier one for me. So let's go to that midpoint now. So anchoring back into the ball of the foot, heel balancing on the heel of the front foot, and then back to the balance and and then come back over to the front of the foot and back into the balance and back and back. Okay, so now come and stand hip joint width apart again. Let's just lift our toes here, spread them wide, anchoring down the big toe joints as you come down with the toes. And again, lifting up, opening out the toes, coming down one more time. And then we're just going to turn sideways so you can see me. Just going to lean forward, closing the front of the ankles, sending the heels away and keeping those toes connected as you send yourself back and forward and back and forward and back and forward. Okay, so if you're not on your mat, come stand on your mat, bring your arms up towards the ceiling, open the arms out wide, nose to chest, slide the ribs down towards and roll down towards the mat. Press through the feet, lifting up through from the insteps, the inner thighs, all the way up as you open yourself out to the side, nose to chest, curling down. Gently bend your knees if you notice there's a little strain behind them, coming up, opening out, and come back down, nose to chest, curling down. And come onto your hands and knees. So let's widen our hands here. Tuck the toes under. And then let's just send the pelvis behind towards the heels. Keep a weight into your wrists. And then send your head and neck forwards as you open out over the wrists. And come back. And forwards. Back. Forwards. And back. And forwards, and then let's roll the pelvis down the backs of the legs and up towards the ceiling. So you're just giving a little bit of spine articulation here in quadruped. So remember to keep the connection on the palms of the hands lovely and constant as you do this, rather than pushing through any part of your limbs. And just let the spine move and shift gently. Good. Keeping those elbows lovely and long. Okay, coming into an extension pattern, turn the pelvis up towards the ceiling and then back arm, front leg reaching away. You're going to lengthen the arm and the leg away so they come up to the level of the body. The pelvis is lovely and stable. Imagine that you've got a glass of champagne on your back of your pelvis. Tap down, reach away. Eye gaze is just beyond the fingertips here. Tap down, reach away. Tap down, reach away, anchoring into that big toe joint. Bring the hand down, bring the knee down, tuck the toe under, switch to the other side. Front arm, back leg. Lengthen away. Tap down. Lengthen away. Tap down. Lengthen away. Tap down, bring the hands down, bring the knee underneath, send the bottom towards the heels. Now let's bring the hands towards the knees and we're going to roll onto the balls of the feet here and just find ourselves in this crouching position. You can hold your fingertips down onto the mat, or you can always just bring yourself around into a ball here. Okay, so just breathe here into the back of the ribs for a moment. And then I'm going to ask you to place your fingertips on the mat if they're not there already. And you're going to roll on just towards the knees coming towards the mat. And then you're going to roll back. You're going to be placing your fingertips down, fingertips supporting you. And then one more. Then I want you to lengthen your front leg. And then, so balance, we're just going to be opening up and closing the ankle here. So really supporting ourselves with our hands. They can be wherever you need them to be. So we're just rolling the ankles backwards and forwards, but really in deep knee flexion. And then come back, breathe, connect yourself into that ball position. And then let's come out with the other leg. Just rock backwards and forwards. And just get all of those ligaments and tendons and the fascia and the muscles all nice and oiled. And then bring the foot backwards. Bring the hands back onto the mat now. Send the knees back down. Come back into quadruped. Just notice if there's any differences here with the feeling in your legs after doing that work. And then you're going to send the leg away, the front leg away comes down. You're still weighted, pressing away with the hands here, but softly into the shoulders, so you're not pushing your ribs up at all. So have both of the toes tucked under and find yourself stable. So we're just going to come forwards and backwards. So we're opening up the wrists again, and we're really connecting into the back of the leg here. The back of the calf. Okay. Now you're going to send that heel away, and then you're going to slide the foot up the wall. So I want you to be nice and level with your pelvis. Really send your heel away. I want you to imagine that you're floating away from your hands as well. Bend the knee. So your thigh is parallel to the floor. Lengthen away. Bend the knee. Lengthen away. Bend the knee. Lengthen away. Eye gaze is just beyond the fingertips. And then you're going to press the sole of the foot. Pulse it up towards the ceiling. See if you can just feel like you're opening up the front of the hips here without changing the position of your pelvis, and come down. Now let's switch to the second side. Roll onto the heel and back. So we're just opening up the soles of the feet as well as the Achilles, going up into the calves. So the weather's changed. So just be mindful of that, and just be observant of how your body responds and reacts to that. And think, what do I need today to counteract that? Okay, slide the heel up the wall. Bend the knee. Send the heel away. And again, bend the knee. Just check whether your toes are rolling outwards, whether you're naturally externally rotating your thigh or whether your toes are coming all the way down. And bend the knee, and we're going to pulse. You're going to open up the front of the hip. So good. Connect into that supporting toe. And bring the foot down. Untuck the toes here. Bring your pelvis down towards your heels, and then lengthen your arms. Sliding your fingertips towards your knees, and then curl up towards the ceiling. And just stay here for a moment. Bring your arms out to the side. And then let's do some little circles here. Just circling the arms in the shoulder girdle. And circling back. And circling the first way. And circling the second way. Press the heels of the hands away, really open up those wrists, bring the fingertips down towards the floor, palms towards the wall, fingertips down towards the floor, just as we change and move these wrists. Just notice how they are responding. And then pressing away from to whatever's either way side of you, then just spiral your arm bones so your palms turn, your fingertips come towards the front, and then you're going to spiral away and the fingertips come towards the back. Just feel like you're twisting or you're spiraling your arms so they're wringing out like a damp dishcloth. Just continue to breathe here. And bring the fingertips down. Drop the hand down to the front. Reach up with your back hand and open up the side into a lovely length. Aim to keep the hips down. So just bear in mind, if your sides are feeling quite sort of under tension today, then maybe come up onto your fingertips. Or maybe you can always prop yourself up if your sides are really wanting to just take a little bit of time to ease open. Bring your arm up and come over, reaching over to the side, lengthening away, pressing away from the hand. Good. Come up. And again, over to the first side. And over to the second side. Okay, slide onto your bottom and just come and have a lie down. Okay, so we're going to do some bridging. So bring your feet hip joint width apart. You can, if you wish to, have them a little bit wider to start off with. But let's start, if you just have a play here with your thigh bones hip joint width apart. But if it's uncomfortable at any point, then just bring them, just externally rotate them and bring them a little bit wider. Okay, so I want you to really find the floor with your feet. I want you to press downwards and notice how that pressure creates space in your pelvis, so it becomes a little bit lighter. And then soften the pressure and the pelvis comes back to the floor. Pressing down with the feet, allow the pelvis to lift just a little bit off the floor. And then come down. And again, pressing down with the feet, allowing the hips just to float off the floor just a little bit. If you were to bring your hands underneath the back of your hips, your back of your hands would be able to find your the skin, the back of your bum. Okay, so I want you to just press down gently with the back foot, lengthen the thigh. Press down gently with the front leg, lengthen the front thigh. And notice how that encourages your pelvis to rotate. So in this micro bridge here, we're just having a nice soft back of neck, nice soft back of head and ribs. And we're just giving a little bit of pressure downwards with the feet as we're rotating. And then bring the legs together, bring the pelvis into neutral and then come down. And we're going to do that again. You're going to press down, you're going to slide your thighs. So you'll be slightly off the mat here, not going into a full bridge. And we're going to slide the thigh bone forwards and the other one forwards. And we're going to be pressing downwards with the foot to in just to initiate that movement. And I want you to avoid clenching your bottom too much. Your muscles will be activated, yes, but we don't want you to be tightly clenching your bottom because that creates tension in your lower back. We want elongation. And just one more on each side. Bring your pelvis to neutral and soften down. Now we're going to bring our arms up towards the ceiling and then just open out your armpits here. And then you're going to arc your arms across the ceiling to the hips. And we're going to do that a couple more times, just on their own. And when you come towards your ears, just make sure you think about spiraling your arm bones just that little bit more so your palms face inwards. Because often when we get towards the armpit, it can get a little bit sticky. Good. And one more. Keeping the arms by the ears, we're going to press into the feet. We're going to lengthen the thigh bones into a bridge now. Reach with the arms and reach away from the body and send the thighs and the knees away. Good. Bring the arms down as you soften the spine down. And let's come into an arm arc bridge as you come back up. Good. And coming back down. So when you get your arms towards your ears, I don't want your arms to collapse on the mat. I want to have some lovely energetic tension through the arms at all times. So that means that they're sort of a bit of they're having a sense of aliveness to them at all points. So all of your muscles are switched on. I don't want you to feel like you're sort of trying to push this. A little bit of gentle energy going through your arms. Good. One more. And you're up here with your arms by your ears. You're going to take the back hand and bring it down towards your pelvis. And then you're going to come down as you switch the arms in their position. And then you're going to come up as you switch the arms again. Keep on pressing down with the feet, lengthening the thigh bones as you come into that bridge. And keep on switching the arms. Do this at your own pace, but remember all the pointers that I gave you. Good. And one more. And then bring both of the hands down onto the mat. Okay, so take your back leg, or make sure this time actually, if your legs are wide, that they're now parallel. We're going to do a one-legged bridge. So you want to take your back leg and place the ankle, the back ankle, over the front thigh. So just after where your ankle bone is on the outside. So let's just start by just bringing the knee in towards the center of the body and out. So we're just giving a little bit of movement to the hip thigh joint. And again, just notice, how is that for you today? Okay. And then we're going to come up into the bridge. But what I want you to do, so the way that I recommend that you do is, yes, we're pressing down with the feet. Yes, we're lengthening the thigh, but we're also connecting the outer edge of the leg that's on the thigh downwards onto the thigh, and it's actively allowing it to move away. So it's not just coming along for a ride, it's having this active connection. Okay, the aim here also is to keep your pelvis lovely and level. So let's bring our hands down to the floor to start off with. You're going to press down with the hands, and then you're going to press downwards with the lower limb of the leg that's being supported by the thigh, and you're going to lengthen away. And then you're going to come back down. And again, breathing into the sides of the ribs. And again. So stay here, bring your arms up towards the ceiling. Notice how that changes your positioning in your body. Now you're going to lift up the leg that's on the thigh and come into a bent knee position. Good. And then you're going to tap down with the foot 3 times. So keep on pressing downwards with the foot that's supporting you and away with the thigh. Bring the foot across the thigh again and come back down. Let's switch over. Hands on the mat. Pressing downwards with the back foot. So the front leg is on the back thigh. They're going to press downwards. So the back, the lower limb of the front foot front leg, I should say, is drawing the thigh away from the hip as you come into the bridge. And then soften down. And again. And down. And again. Bring your arms up here and then float your leg off and tap down 3 times. Keeping pressing downwards in the foot, sending that thigh and the knee away from the pelvis. Over your leg again, coming down. Okay, so keeping your arms here, we're going to do the same again with the first leg. Okay, so you're going to press down with the foot, you're going to lengthen the thigh bone away. Allow the arms to soften into the shoulder girdle. Don't feel like your shoulders need to be rounded. Soften down with the pelvis. And again. And remember just to notice the differences on the side. So maybe one side is really simple, the other side is having a little bit of a confusion day perhaps. And then bring the leg up. So you're now just balancing on that front leg, and then you're going to tap the back leg down 3 times. Good. Bring the leg back onto the thigh and come down. And let's switch legs. And press into the back leg, lengthen the back thigh as you come up and back down. And again, pressing downward and back and come up. Let's float the leg off and tap, 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 and bring the leg back, softening down. Good. Now bring the legs into your body, hold onto your kneecaps, and let's just move the thigh bones in circles in your hip joints. And then back. Bring the hands behind the thighs, press the thighs into the hands, and then curl up. Okay, so let's come onto our knees here. Interlace our hands behind our head. And we're going to do some side opening here, lengthening the one side up, the elbow comes up towards the ceiling. Draw the arms back up and over you go. And up. And then we're going to come round in a circle. So eye gaze comes down towards the floor, across the floor, over to the opposite knee, spiral face me, eye gaze up, very just towards the ceiling, and you're going to come down. So we're circling with the ribs. Good. One more. And then let's reverse. Coming into a bit of extension as well with thoracic spine. And then let's open out our collarbones, eye gaze up towards the ceiling, draw the eye gaze down towards the floor. Lifting up from the front of the spine, opening up the elbows, widening the collarbones as you come out. Eye gaze comes to the floor. So you don't need to go too far down. It's just the rib cage dropping down towards the navel here and then lengthening up. Opening up. Just to get some mobility into that spine. And then we're going to come up to face the front, and we're just going to turn the ribs. So we can't turn our ribs too far, but just focus on the spiraling coming from the middle of your spine and not from the lower part, which is one of the reasons why we're sat downwards, to prevent the pelvis and the lumbar spine from moving. Okay, and then we're going to come onto our toes again. Here. Okay. So what I'm going to do, just going to place your hand in the middle and one hand to the side, or fingertips. And then you're going to bring one leg here. Okay, so you're going to rock from foot to foot. Okay. And feel safe in that movement. And then you're going to come back and you're going to go to the other side. You're going to rock. We're going to come back. And this time we're going to lengthen the leg out. So the sole is up towards whatever's this way. And then we're going to go forwards. We're going to use our ankles, our heels, just to shift and move. And then we're going to bring the foot downwards and bend the knee. So you're putting a little bit more pressure into that foot. You're just supporting yourself here. And then lifting the sole back up, bringing the sole down and bending that long knee, that long leg, the knee of the long leg. And then come in and switch over and just keep on moving those ankles. And then bringing the foot down, bending the knee, shifting the weight a little bit if you need to, or if you can. And then bring the feet into the middle and just bring your legs long. Okay, so you can have your feet wide here if you want to. And then just bend the knee and flex the knees and at the hips. So really deep flexion. Lengthen the legs. And again, bending the knees. Notice what happens with your feet. Do they want to roll inwards? Do they want to roll outwards? Is there a side that has a little bit more connection than the other? Maybe one side is sort of, your toes are lifting perhaps. One more bend. And then come into a little bit smaller. And we're going to come into the squat. So maybe come in and just lift your knees. Bring your feet a little bit wider. Yeah. Okay, so, and just rock from side to side. Bringing the heel down from side to side. And then lengthening the legs. Breathe into the sides of the ribs. And then come down. So if you want to, if you feel comfortable coming down with the flat foot, then do. If you don't want to, if you want to lift your heels, Then feel free to, if you want to place your hands down, then feel to, and then lengthen the legs again. And again. And back up. And then lift up through from the front of the spine. Let's come up to standing. And bring your feet hip joint width apart. We'll do a small bit of balancing here. So come off your mat. If you've got a surface underneath you, it'll be a bit easier. Okay, so just press downwards with your feet, and then we're going to take this side, so my right, your left, lifting up the heel onto the ball of the foot, then float the knee up, then bring the foot down and lift up the other heel, float the thigh up. So again, just notice what's happening with your hips. Switch the legs as you float up. I want you to keep your hips, so you don't have to place your hands here. I'm not holding my hips, by the way. My hands are just on my hips to notice whether they are shifting, or how much, I should say, they are shifting, and to give it a little bit of groundingness. So actually they're free to move around. And again, so let's actually do that. Oh, why did I say do that when I'm on my wobbly leg? Bring the arms up and down. And if you are wobbling, notice where do you wobble to? Because if you're wobbling here, rolling onto the outer edges, then think about anchoring down your big toe joint to keep yourself more in your center. If you're lifting your toes, think about lengthening your toes up along a little bit, just to see if you can, or even if you're scrunching your toes, see if you can lengthen your toes a little bit, just to give yourself a little bit more surface area. One more each side. Take your feet down, let your arms drop. Just check in with your body, check in with your feet, from your feet all the way up the skeleton. And just notice how your body's responded today to the movement. Thank you very much.